Corey Pearce was making. You need to build the host culture on its native elements, and then it becomes a safe place for outsiders and natives to coexist. And so, as Murray concludes, all of this is happening at a time when we are forbidden to even speak of such things. 25 years ago, at the time of the referendum on the Maastricht Treaty, I went around Ireland at that time with the late great Raymond Crotty. That treaty that treaty consolidated Ireland's dependency on the EU. I used to ask people why it was that the unity and self-realisation of a larger entity, like the European Union, was to be regarded as ipso facto good, whereas the self-realisation of a smaller entity, like Ireland, was to be regarded as dangerous and wrong. Nobody has ever satisfactorily answered this question to me. Why is it that bigger is better? Even if it has no culture, it's still better. No unifying elements, no unifying methodologies, nothing to hold it together. And yet these people insist that we must follow their lead. And there is an alternative, a European nation state. Ireland was briefly such, but for nearly 50 years the very idea of Ireland as a nation state has been subjected to the cultural equivalent of carpet bombing. Every hour of every day, from every newspaper and every broadcasting station, the Irish people have been subjected to relentless propaganda concerning not merely the inevitability and singular correctness of the EU project, but of the invalidity and indeed moral dubiousness of the national idea. This has penetrated into every remaining crevice of public thinking. And yet the nation state remains the most functional political entity because it is most likely to maintain a functional culture and therefore an effective community and an effective economy. It is the best means of political organisation for safeguarding borders and ensuring the security of citizens. The nation state is the cradle of parliamentary democracy, of the rule of law rooted in a coherent concept of justice, of the notion of human rights rooted in the dignity of every human person, and of the market as the engine of social and economic cooperation. What we call Europe now was never a convincing prospect as a replacement for this, and yet we were led into it to be destroyed in the process. What we call Europe has attacked and all but destroyed the three fundamental pillars of human society: family, church, nation. All three have been subject to relentless attack for 5 decades, yet all three elements, family, church and nation, are capable of a resurgence at any moment, and the early signs are that this has already been trained. Awoken by the encroaching totalitarianisms that have pushed just a little too far too fast, the people of the West are awakening for their slumber. A revolution is coming. It's beginning to happen all over the free world. It is not, I believe, a revolution of the right, or the alt-right, or the far right. It is a revolution from the concrete centre, from the places where actually existing working people live and love and work. It is a revolution fundamentally against bullshit and bullying. It is also a rejection of intimidation and political correctness, which is, by the way, not some slightly kooky obsession with extravagant politeness, but a strategic tyranny of censorship designed not merely to stop people saying certain things, but even thinking certain things. Tyrannies. We need to begin to say what we think, what we believe, and above all, what we demand, what we, the sovereign people, demand. We need a vision of self-sustenance into the distant future. which will replace our current dependencies, our current appalling, shameful, I believe, dependence on a 12.5% corporation tax. We need to phase this out in the medium to long term and replace it with our own self-generated economy built on traditions and beliefs and energies of Irish people. We have to demand, first of all, the right to a free conversation, unimpeded by false pieties or pseudo-civility. And we need that so as to discover and recruit to a project of patriotism, some form of leadership, some band of leaders, which respect the Irish nation, which respect the sovereign people of the Republic of Ireland, and their democratic right to speak of that which matters to them and the future of their nation, and their children, and their children's children. A group of leaders which is capable of articulating a vision for a self-sufficient, confident Ireland of the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Romain,